can't think of any more human activity than conducting science experiments.
The game I play is a very interesting one. It's imagination in a tight straitjacket.
The beauty of a living thing is not the atoms that go into it, but the way those atoms are put together.
What I always think should be the basis of education is not answers, but questions. We should teach kids how to question.
Welcome to Blabcoats. My name's Amit Siddiqui. In this abridged episode, Meow talks about some of the challenges that exist in the way science is reported and the issues with academic journals. To listen to the full episode, go to blabcoats.com and subscribe to our podcast.
Yeah, so I think biohackers, you get a lot of bang for your buck. You know, like for $1,000, we can do a project that might cost $10,000 to $50,000 at university. We also approach problems in slightly different ways. We're not academics as well. And I think a big thing is that a lot of papers don't solve problems. One of the best things that biohackers can do is actually pick up a lot of the academic research and translate it into a technology. And I would say most people here are actually more technologists than they are scientists. And this is what we need at the moment, though, because we have, you know, huge amounts of data and huge amounts of inventions and papers, and not just inventions, but discoveries that aren't in people's hands. So millennials should be going through taking this, combining technologies and making new things. I think that's probably the most important thing that we can do, and it's the only way we're ever going to make money. We're seeing funding for science dry up, and the way that we make funding for science is actually through technology. So everyone's like, oh, CSIRO is great. They're a fantastic research organization. They invented Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi is a technology, not a scientific discovery. So behind that is hundreds of papers talking about the way radio waves propagate, protocols, all these things. But it's not until the technology gets created that anyone recognizes it. Like if I said to someone, oh yeah, how good are phased arrays? No one gives a fuck, right? You know, or you know, the differing wavelengths of this, or you know, Fourier transforms. They only care about the product that goes in your hand, the X-ray, the medicine. So I think there's a big push on scientists to be technologists. But they shouldn't. There should be two separate jobs potentially, and we shouldn't be cutting money to science. We should be increasing funding to technologists.
I totally agree. I mean, I had this conversation with the very first guest that I had, Sandy, whose project was focused on building these nano cages to trap carbon dioxide, so as a means of, you know, mitigating climate change. But he was saying that part of the issue in science, and exactly what you're saying, is that we have all this great academic research being conducted, but it's not being taken and done. Like there's nothing being done with it, and so you know, you have all this information, this knowledge being wasted. And something he mentioned that
also, just to add on to that a little bit, a lot of this knowledge is actually patented by the universities.
Really?
So yeah, like the age-old story: someone does some research. University patents it. University's a shit house at fucking commercializing stuff. So they sit on it for 20 years until it's fucking useless. It's painful, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, some universities commercialize stuff well. You know, you got Stanford, MIT.
Yep.
Some universities don't commercialize stuff well, and that's pretty much most of Australia. There's like, you know, there's attempts at fixing it.
Yep.
They got easy access IP coming out of UNSW and stuff like this, but like, really? Why bother patenting it at all? Especially this is publicly funded, right? We're just tying back into this. Why do they have any fucking right to fucking own this idea when I paid for it? How many times do I have to fucking pay for this before it's mine? I paid for the research, I paid for your wage, I paid for your paper. Now I'm paying for your patent, and then I'm buying the invention back from you. Like, you know,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is why, like, a lot of universities and I really clash, is because they've got their finger in every fucking pie. They're making a fortune. All of them are delivering substandard education. Like, they are. They see most universities see students and teaching as a nuisance. And when you've been in academia, you know it.
Yeah, we know it. Definitely.
Yeah, but people who are outside academia think these are places of education. They're not. They're places of research that fund it by punching as many students through as quickly as possible for as little per degree as possible. We're talking like, you're paying $600 to $800 a semester per class. You're taking 3 to 5 classes. They're doing stuff like $15 per student per semester in lab costs.
Yeah.
You're never going to deliver quality education when you're paying stuff like that, right? And they just say, how can we do it for as cheaply as possible? And then you get these fucking, incredibly educated but underqualified students leaving, and teachers as well. Most of them are getting paid because they're doing PhDs. They don't want to educate.
Yeah.
So all the tutors, most of them don't want to be there.
Right.
But they need money to do their PhD. So you've got this really fucking toxic system.
And
I could rave on for literally hours about how bad it is. I think people survive and do well in spite of uni, not because of it. There's some, I'm going to say there's some good people in there, and they're trapped within the system too. But as an institution, it's flawed and broken. And if we want to get real, inventions coming out, they have to relax their grips on their IP.
Yeah.
They have to encourage students to take it and invent it, and they really have to get their grubby little fucking mitts off the equity and say things like, I'm going to give it to you for zero equity. You're just going to have this idea and it's our present to you because we want you to be successful, and we're going to give you some academic support to show you how to build stuff, and you're going to create awesome companies, and the university's profile will be raised. Everyone wins.
Yeah, I think the issue is just the ego. I think that as humans, we just want to be recognized for our shit. This is my idea. I have the greatest idea. Everybody look at me.
Well, the thing is as well, universities are just so greedy.
Yeah.
It's, how much money do you need? There are most universities could probably survive without students even paying, right? Because they've been given so much money from alumni that sit in funds that mature and make money for them. Harvard's a perfect example. Just in money that they've got in the bank, they have so much that they don't really even have to charge students. But they'll put them in debt. This is that classic boomer thing of fucking over the millennials. Anyway, I think that there's better ways of doing stuff. I think that, we have quality research institutions like Garvin that function way better than university because they're not educating students. I don't think universities should be doing the same type of research as places like Garvin because they end up doing everything poorly.
Yeah.
And universities should probably focus much more heavily on students than they do on research.
Yeah. Definitely teachers that actually want to teach rather than people who are just obsessed about research and see teaching as a burden. That's a big issue.
That's right. And you also see, different teachers like teaching different stuff. So you see some teachers that don't even like teaching third year.
Yeah.
You see some that really passionately care about teaching fundamental concepts in first year. But they're expected to do research even though they've been so focused on teaching that they're out of the game.
Yeah.
Let them fucking teach.
Yeah.
Don't put the square peg in the round hole,
Exactly right,
What's funny is that all the people making these decisions are more educated than I am. I actually think it's ridiculous because the academics are saying the same things themselves.
Yeah, I've definitely heard this echoed by many academics that I've spoken to. Thanks for listening to Blab Codes. Rate and review our podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, because it does help us spread the word. And if you like what we're doing here, then help us grow it by sharing this with a friend of a friend, or your mailman, even your mailman's mailman. We also want to hear from you, so send us questions or comments to blabcodes@gmail.com. And if you have any interesting questions or comments, then we'll talk about it on air.